What if the ghost in your house is a virus in your DNA? What if that chilling presence you feel in the dead of night isn't a ghost? That fleeting shape in the corner of your eye, the classic woman in white of folklore. What if she isn't a spirit from a forgotten past, but a predator coded into your very being? This isn't your typical ghost story. This is a thought experiment about an infection. We're going to explore what might happen if the ghost in your house was actually a pathogen, a biological agent lurking in your DNA, awakened by your ancestors' trauma, and now rewriting your bloodline from the inside out. Forget what you know about spirits. The most terrifying monsters aren't the ones in our houses, but the ones in our cells. Section 1. The genetic ghost. Every culture has its ghost stories, pale, terrifying figures that linger where they once lived. We see them, feel them, and tell their stories. But what if we've been misinterpreting the signs all along? What if we're not dealing with the supernatural, but with our own biology? Let's start with a fact. A huge portion of your genetic code isn't, strictly speaking, human. Roughly 8% of our DNA is made up of what are called endogenous retroviruses, or ERVs. These are the fossilized remnants of ancient viral infections that didn't just infect our distant ancestors. They embedded themselves into their reproductive cells and became a permanent part of the human lineage. For millions of years, this viral code has been passed down, generation after generation. It was long dismissed as junk DNA, but we're now discovering that some of this so-called junk has been co-opted for critical functions, like regulating genes and even aiding in embryonic development. But what if, hidden in that 8%, a particular sequence isn't just a fossil or a helpful tool? What if it's a dormant predator? For our thought experiment, let's call it Lamina occulta, the hidden blight. In our scenario, Lamina occulta is an ERV unlike any other. It hasn't degraded or been fully silenced. It's been waiting for a specific key to unlock its code and start its replication cycle all over again. And that key, tragically, is inherited trauma. Section 2. The trauma trigger. The idea that trauma can be inherited sounds like sci-fi, but it's at the heart of a real, fascinating, and sometimes controversial field called epigenetics. This field studies how your environment and life experiences can cause changes that affect how your genes work. The DNA sequence itself doesn't change, but epigenetic marks act like switches, turning genes on or off. Now, the science here is new and still debated, but some emerging research suggests that the immense stress of a traumatic event might leave an epigenetic scar that could be passed down. For instance, some studies on the descendants of people who survived extreme events, like famine or the Holocaust, have reported finding epigenetic changes that weren't present in control groups, though this is a complex and difficult area of study. So let's take a speculative leap. In our scenario, the epigenetic signature from a profound ancestral trauma does something far more sinister than just increase the risk for anxiety. It finds the lock on Lamina occulta's cage and turns the key. Imagine a great-grandmother who survived a horrific, life-altering event. The trauma leaves an epigenetic mark on her DNA. That mark is passed to her daughter and then her granddaughter. For them, it might just be a whisper, unexplained anxiety, a lingering sadness. But in the fourth generation, the cumulative epigenetic signal reaches a critical threshold. It doesn't just influence behavior, it activates code. The dormant virus, Lamina occulta, awakens. The haunting has begun, but it's not the spirit of the ancestor walking the halls. It is her legacy, a biological curse she never knew she was carrying. Section 3. The biology of a haunting. So how does a virus create a ghost? Through a systematic and terrifying attack on the human body, creating symptoms we've interpreted for centuries as a paranormal encounter. Stage 1 is neurological. Once active, our fictional virus needs to mess with the host's perception. This isn't a huge stretch. Some real-world viruses are known to be neurotropic, meaning they can invade the nervous system. Viral infections have been linked to psychiatric conditions involving hallucinations and delusions. Our pathogen, Lamina occulta, would specifically target the brain's temporal and occipital lobes. By interfering with these regions, it could trigger complex, specific hallucinations. And here's where the woman in white comes from. The virus isn't creating the image from scratch. That would be inefficient. Instead, it hijacks the brain's pattern recognition software and our own deep-seated cultural folklore. It projects a form the host is already primed to see as a ghost. It wears a culturally adaptive mask, ensuring that when victims report what they see, they're dismissed. A perfect disguise. Stage 2 creates the physical sensations of a haunting. That sudden, bone-deep chill known as a cold spot. Paranormal lore says it's a spirit-drawing energy. The biological explanation here is more gruesome. Lamina occulta would attack the host's circulatory system and bone marrow, inducing severe, chronic anemia. The victim's body would struggle to maintain its temperature, leading to constant feelings of cold. The cold spot isn't a patch of air in the room. It's the failing body of the person experiencing it. Their perception of cold becomes so intense, it feels like it's coming from the outside. Whispers in an empty room? That could be the virus affecting the auditory centers of the brain. Doors slamming or objects moving. As the infection progresses, it could lead to muscle spasms and a loss of motor control, causing the host to stumble, drop things, or slam doors without a clear memory of doing so. The ghost isn't moving objects. The infected person is, without even knowing it. Section 4. The end game. Extinction of a bloodline. This all leads to the horrifying purpose of Lamina occulta. Why would a virus evolve to create such an elaborate, ghostly facade? The answer lies in its transmission and its ultimate goal. Lamina occulta is an endogenous retrovirus, meaning it's already in every cell of the host's body. It doesn't need to spread from person to person like a common cold. Its goal is singular and ruthless, to ensure the complete and total extinction of the bloodline that carries it. The final stage of the infection is reproductive. This is grounded in reality, as numerous viruses are known to negatively impact fertility in both men and women. They can decrease sperm quality, disrupt embryo development, and damage reproductive organs. Lamina occulta would take this to a devastating conclusion. In female hosts, it would systematically attack the reproductive system, leading to infertility or miscarriages. In male hosts, it could trigger catastrophic sperm failure, tanking motility and count until sterility is the only outcome. The haunting is just a side effect of the virus's main job. The hallucinations, the cold, the decay. These are symptoms of an organism being consumed from within. The virus ensures the bloodline ends. No more children means no more hosts. Its life cycle is complete when the family tree is severed at its root. The woman in white isn't mourning a death. She is the harbinger of one. She is a biological guarantee that this family line ends, right here, right now. The chilling genius of this fictional pathogen is its deception. By mimicking a supernatural event, it keeps its victims from looking for a biological cause. You don't call a doctor for a ghost. You call a paranormal investigator. By the time anyone might suspect an illness, it's far too late. The lineage has already been marked for termination. Conclusion. Of course, this is all a work of speculative biology. There's no known pathogen named Lamina occulta, and absolutely no evidence that endogenous retroviruses operate in this terrifying way. But the science that underpins this story is very real. Our DNA is filled with ancient viral code. Epigenetic inheritance is a real field of study, exploring how our ancestors' experiences might affect us today. And viruses absolutely can have profound and devastating effects on the human body. The story of Lamina occulta just pushes these real concepts to a terrifying, fictional conclusion. It reframes the ghost story not as a fable of the soul, but as a chilling narrative of our own biology. It suggests that the greatest threats aren't the spirits that might lurk in our homes, but the secrets already lurking in our genes. So the next time you feel a sudden chill, or see something unexplainable from the corner of your eye, ask yourself, is it a ghost? Or is it just an echo from an ancestor written in your blood, waiting for its turn to wake up? What do you think? Could a biological agent be the real source of some paranormal legends? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoy exploring the twisted intersection of science and horror, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next descent into the speculative unknown.